Welcome back. Today is all about Kundalini. I get calls from people that are very concerned about their Kundalini awakening experience. And it's so understandable because it's really hard to get good direction. Because, well, nobody really understands what Kundalini is. So let's begin by understanding what Kundalini is and then move on to what we can do about it when we're experiencing it. How can we get through it the best way, the best possible way on earth that we can get through Kundalini? So let's get into that. So the wonderful soul that called me up, he said that he got two pieces of advice. Well, first of all, he called up an organization which teaches meditation, which shall remain unnamed. And they told him, oh, that shouldn't be happening at all. And so you should go and get an MRI. Oh my God, where are they coming up with this? I think they want plausible deniability and they don't want any liability. And so this is their textbook response for anything is to go see a doctor. We don't have anything to do with that. But it really leaves all of your students in the lurch because this is going to happen for a lot of people. And this is why. You got to think of your mind like a pyramid. And at the pinnacle of that pyramid, you have the beta brainwave. That's you and me talking right now. We're in the beta brainwave. We're using that beta conscious mind brainwave. Now, the next set of stones below that is going to be the alpha. And this is where we start to get a little bit sleepy, but we still have some beta available to us, right? We still have some conscious mind, but we're now very sleepy. And then we get into the theta. And this is where we're going to start having visions. Now, if you've integrated with your theta brainwave and you can maintain your beta while you have the theta, then you're going to see those visions with open eyes. And so this often happens to a meditator, that they'll enter into a dreamlike state or they will have a vision. So this is a very deep, very slow brainwave. Now, below all of that is the delta. And it's very, very slow and very instinctual. So the way to access this brainwave is to imagine that somebody is sneaking up behind you, because it's a very instinctual understanding to feel all around us all the time. That is that deep instinct in the subconscious mind. So all of these subconscious brainwaves are going on all of the time, and they are backing you up. Your beta brainwave at the pinnacle of the pyramid could not exist, could not function without those deep subconscious movements going on. And so what are these subconscious brainwaves doing all the time inside of us? Well, they're beating your heart, and they're breathing your breath, and they're working your immune system all the time. And so when you start to slow down in meditation, you're going to encounter these slower brainwaves. And what is the first process, the most constant process that the yogi might encounter as he encounters these slower brainwaves? It's the breath. And what does the breath do? It goes up and down. It goes up and down. You've got lungs filling up, lungs emptying out, lungs filling up, lungs emptying out constantly. Right? This constant motion is taken care of by your subconscious. You don't have to think about it. Just as a thought experiment, imagine for a moment that you are sitting at your desk and you're working really hard and you get so into your project that you suddenly forget to breathe, and you go for a couple minutes, then you start turning purple and you go, oh my God, I forgot to breathe. Wouldn't that be a horrible way to live? And we don't have to live that way because we have the subconscious backing us up. The unconscious mind and the subconscious mind backing us up continuously. And that is what allows us to live. It's backing us up all the time. It is the subconscious mind that backs us up and breathes our breath continuously so that we don't have to think about it. And so the first thing that the yogi might encounter when he has a Kundalini awakening and he begins to become aware of these subconscious movements is he notices that there's energy going up and energy going down right around his spine. And all of these are signals telling the breath to come up, telling the breath to go down. The movement of the diaphragm that allows the lungs to fill with air and expand, and then to empty as well. All of that. There are signals regulating all of that continuously running through the body, and we're not aware of them until we step into these deeper brain waves, slower brain waves. So as we slow down, the first thing that we might encounter is energy coming up and going down, coming up and going down. It's a very normal thing for the yogi to experience. But that's not all. You might experience things around the heart. You might experience things around your immune system. You might feel yourself heat up or cool down. You might notice that there's a problem in your body, like maybe you have a neck pain, or maybe you have a leg pain or an ankle pain, and you'll notice that all of the energy groups around that particular part of your body. What is it doing? That is your subconscious healing that part of your body which is out of sync. It's not correct. It has to go in there and heal it. And you're witnessing the mobilization of those subconscious forces to heal the body. And we're not normally in contact with that. So you talk to somebody about that, they're going to go, that's not normal at all. Of course they don't understand because they're not in contact with these slower brainwaves. So you're going to start feeling things that you're probably not supposed to be able to feel. You're going to start to encounter these subconscious movements through the body. So, first of all, they were going on all this time, and now you're just becoming aware of them. So it's totally normal. Now, the next advice that this dear soul got was that you should just power through it. Just do lots of whatever you were doing to encounter that Kundalini awakening, that subconscious material coming to the fore. Just do a lot of it. No, don't listen to that. So maybe that would work and maybe it won't. And if you want to know what that looks like when you just power through it, go read Gopi Krishna in his book where he talks about his Kundalini awakening, his first book. And you'll see what happens when you just power through it. Because I was reading his book and it just blew my mind because he does this meditation process, right? And all of a sudden he feels this tremendous river of energy coming up and going into his brain. And he instead of going like a normal person and going, oh my God, what was that? I think I should go talk to somebody that knows what this is, or, take a break and come back. No, he goes right back and he goes through it again and he goes through it again and he goes through it again. And then he's debilitated. He can't get out of bed for a few months. It was a real ordeal. It caused trouble in his family life. So not necessarily the way that you want to go. When you encounter the deep subconscious movements through your body, which are normally called Kundalini, when you encounter this, and it's a lot, well then go ahead and slow down on your meditation. Practice Om Japa in your chakras through the day. Practice Hakala through your day, what I teach on this channel. Hakala. You look at one point straight ahead of you, and then you open up your peripheral vision. Become aware of everything on the sides. That's what Hakala is. It's opening up your peripheral vision. You just look one right ahead, but you're opening up all of this peripheral vision, right? It's so easy. It's a walking meditation. Do some walking meditation practices. Practice to pick up your prayer practice. Do something which is light and easy and keeps you connected with your spiritual pathway, right? But in this case, your meditation may be less is more for you. So instead of powering through, just bring it down a little bit, because you're trying to assimilate all of this subconscious information that you were not aware of all the time. You were sitting up there on the top of the pyramid and you were not aware that all this stuff was going on down here. And now you are. And so it's a lot to take in. So, just take your time. Go a little slow with yourself. You don't need to power through it. No, you don't. Trust me. One of the main ways that we may encounter this subconscious awakening of Kundalini is the drawing sensation at the spiritual eye. This is the first knot. So if you haven't seen my 3-knot videos, the 3 knots of Lahiri Mashaya, you want to go back and take a look at that, because you might encounter this very strong pull at the spiritual eye like a magnet. And it can be really intense. It can get really strong. So if it gets really strong, pull everything back to the medulla. Just imagine you're pulling it back to the medulla. How do you find the medulla? Imagine that your neck is a screw in the ball of your skull, and swivel your head back and forth so that you feel that screw in the center of your skull. Really small. And just draw all the energy from your face into the medulla. And that 9.9% of the time works and will relieve that pressure from the spiritual eye. I'd also recommend more Om Japa in each of your chakras. So how do you do that? You go into each of the chakras, and I'm only talking about the 6, right? The coccyx, the sacral, the lumbar, the dorsal, the cervical, and the medulla. Only those 6. Go into each of them and chant Om into them. Now I have a video called Brain Orbit Kriya, and it's a warning, right? I tell you, don't do anything up here when you're doing a meditation practice. You want to concentrate on these 6 chakras especially. When you're going through a Kundalini awakening, you're going to understand why. Because you really only want a lot of activity to happen from the medulla down. And from here up, it's just purely an expansion experience. And so you don't want to overactivate the crown or the spiritual eye. You want to only use the medulla down. That's an insurance policy. It's designed to help to keep you safe from having an adverse Kundalini awakening. It's just your subconscious material, but it can get away with itself, and you don't want that getting away on your crown or getting away on your spiritual eye. You want to draw it back to the medulla. Now, if something beautiful is happening, you're having an expansive experience, that's okay. But in general, we want to keep it from the medulla down when we're trying to awaken an experience, right? So what I would recommend is that you do more Om Japa into each of the 6 chakras. Now, if that picks up your Kundalini awakening experience and it aggravates it, then slow that down as well. But it should help quiet things down. That's what Om Japa in the chakras does, generally speaking. It quiets things down. And that's what you want. You want to, less is more in this case, right? You want a quiet, easy experience. Another thing that you can do, especially if you have a really strong spiritual eye experience, is you can expand. Just imagine that you are expanding into space, expanding into the sky, that you are resting up in the clouds and expanding away. That can help to relieve that kind of tight tension when the energy gets really tight in the spiritual eye. Just imagine that you are expanding out, and it can be a real relief. Sometimes when there's an injury in the body, the Kundalini will, the so-called Kundalini, right? It will collect around that part of the body, and it can get really intense. You can have a really, possibly very intense experience of that. So if that were to happen to you, and you feel this one part of your body, a lot of times it's the neck, maybe it's your knee or your hip. If you feel that really intense energy and it's just a lot, right? and you can't seem to get the energy to move. It's just really locked up in that one little area. Just remember, it's your subconscious trying to heal that part of your body. So it will work on it, it'll work on it, it'll work on it, and then one day it'll be done. And it's done because it says, well, I've done what I can with this injury. And then it moves on to the rest of your body. But when you're locked up in that cycle and it's like, wow, this is really intense, go into the shower and do a very old therapy called hot and cold therapy. So get under the shower and turn on the hot water, not boiling, just, hot, just nice and hot and bearable. And then turn on the cold water. Not so freezing it's unbearable, but just cold. And then hot, and then cold, and then hot, and then cold, like a minute each one. So you're going back and forth, back and forth. And that cycle of hot and cold gets the energy moving. It's a very wonderful old therapy. It's also great for headaches or back pain. Hot and cold therapy, very old therapy. It works great. And it's so easy nowadays in a shower. Hot, cold, hot, cold. Try it out and see if it doesn't move the energy and relieve some of that wrapped up energy. The body's trying to heal itself. That's all that's going on. It's not that mysterious at all. And lastly, the very best thing that we can do for this whole process is to get in touch with our subconscious, with our deep subconscious, which is the unconscious mind. So we're basically talking with the higher self. But sometimes it's easier for us to name it the unconscious mind. It feels more like it's a part of us. Sometimes we put God or we put the higher self like way, way out there. And we don't need to. We want to draw them in instead. And so talk to it. Just try it. Try it this way that I'm explaining it to you. Try it out. And every time a Kundalini, so-called Kundalini awakening experience happened, it's like, whoa, this was a lot, and it's, okay, there's this one and it was not that comfortable. Whenever that happens, you want to talk to your unconscious mind and you want to go, oh my goodness, thank you so much, unconscious mind, because I'm the one, you came for the meditation, right? And here you are getting in touch with these very slow brain waves, which is, wow, good job. You're doing great, by the way. This is a very deep meditation that you're doing, right? You're getting in contact with these slow brain waves. So very good, first of all. So you want to be thankful for what you have, because you don't want to shut down your meditation, right? And so you say, oh my God, thank you so much, unconscious mind. And now I would like to take that sensation that was overwhelming and I want to shrink it down, make it smaller, make it smaller. When you're communicating with the unconscious mind, it has to be very clear, very simple, very clear, and repeat that over and over a few times. Very simple, very clear, like you're talking to a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old. Very, very clear, very simple. Thank you, unconscious mind. Next time, make it smaller, make it smaller, make it nicer, make it smaller. That's how you talk to your unconscious mind, and you create this rapport with your deep self that you can contact and ask for help. You absolutely can. And so each night before you go to bed, especially right before you fall asleep, talk to your unconscious mind. Thank you, unconscious mind. Oh my goodness, I wanted this meditation and here it is. I wanted this meditation experience and here it is. Next time, go ahead and make it smaller and easy for me. Make it smaller, make it easy for me. Make it bearable. Thank you, unconscious mind. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Do that every night and create that rapport with your unconscious mind so that you can ask of it to go ahead and change your experience. You're not asking for it to go away. You want to minimize those things which are uncomfortable. And this will happen automatically. You'll be going through the experience and you're like, whoa, this is too much. And that's a feedback. And very slowly it will process that and it will minimize those things which are not comfortable. And they will go back down into the pyramid, right? and you won't experience them so much in your beta. But you're just asking, you're speeding that up by asking your unconscious mind, thank you so much. Now go ahead and minimize that. Make it smaller. Put it back down into the pyramid. Whatever makes sense to you, ask that of your unconscious mind. Just make sure it's very clear and very simple and very easy and very confident. You have to be confident when you're talking to your unconscious mind. Could you please? No, you don't ask that way. You say, unconscious mind, thank you so much. Now go ahead and shrink that down. Oh, and this other one, I really like that. Go ahead and make that bigger. Just like that. That's how you talk to your unconscious mind. You create that rapport and you start assimilating this Kundalini experience. And that's really what it's all about. You want to assimilate the experience. Take your time. Go slow. Don't power through it. And it's going to be okay. I promise. It's only your subconscious self. So I hope you love this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.